Hello, guys and gals and non-binary pals. It's Sammy Flair. I don't know how I feel about that intro. I gotta work on actually getting an intro at some point. I know I'm still fairly early on in this, but I haven't found anything that's really me yet. First video in a while, at least the first video that's not like a reel on Instagram, something like that. This is real, R-E-A-L, not real, R-E-E-L. You know what? Don't worry about it. Look, it's my goal to actually make good content on here instead of just putting another picture of myself on the internet, because it's gonna get stale after a while, which is interesting considering the topic of today's video, but I digress. I am very excited for this video today because I get to finally share something with y'all that I got to do a couple weeks ago. It's almost been a month. This was a bucket list item for me. Anybody that's been following me on Instagram knows that I've been kind of hyping this up, but then it got kind of drowned out with Halloween, which I had some really good Halloween costumes this year. Just gonna say, you can go check that out. So if I'm doing this right and uploading everything as I think I'm going to, and actually editing this in time and getting it up soon, you're gonna have seen some of these photos already. But I got the opportunity to be the subject slash model slash I paid for whatever. I got to do a boudoir photo shoot. Yeah, it was so exciting. I have so many emotions kind of swirling around in my head from it still, even though it was about a month ago. Before I really do any of that, I want to take a second and shout out both the photographer and the makeup artist who really helped all of this come together. I've thanked them so much. They're probably sick of hearing it by now, but number one, I want to thank them because obviously they do amazing work and they help me fulfill a lifelong dream. But number two, I always want to support people who I can believe in their product or their service or whatever, and particularly with these two, I 100% do. So if that means that they get one extra client because of my recommendation, then hey, I'm all for that. So the photographer's name is Cindy, and I'll put like a screenshot or her Instagram handle or something in this space that's, I can't actually do anything with yet. That's up to future Sammy to edit in. She's a really talented photographer in so many genres that she touches. Just on her main page, you'll see like senior portraits, you'll see female scapes, that's something that she specializes in. You see, I've seen, I think, engagement shoots, and I've seen wedding photography, all the way down to just nature photography. She's really, really good. And beneath all of that, there's something to be said for being really talented at your craft, but it's even better if you're just a really good human being too. And that's exactly who she was. She was one of the sweetest people that I've ever met. She had genuine questions for me about all of this, about who Sammy is and why I wanted to jump in and do something like this, but there was never any judgment on her part. She was just as excited as I was. I think because she got the sense that I was living out a dream, kind of. And I think, I'm not an artistic person, but I imagine that when you get to help somebody do something they really want to do by virtue of your craft, that has to be one of the most fulfilling feelings in the world. So anyway, she's got two Instagram pages. One is her main page, and then the other is the boudoir page, which I have already made a few appearances on. I'm just saying. The makeup artist's name was Mimi. Again, she was one of the sweetest people ever, as long as being possibly the best hype woman that the world has ever known. I don't know if she's officially gotten that trophy yet or not, but I'm casting my ballot for her. And anybody that saw my pictures and my stories kind of teasing this on the day of saw just what an incredible thing she did with my face. I mean, I feel like I'm okay at my makeup. I feel like I'm pretty competent in some areas, but this woman just blew me away. I remember when she let me see myself for the first time, I think I just looked in the mirror and then kept doing, I said, "Are you serious?" Anyway, Mimi Beauty, again, just a wonderful, wonderful person. Would highly recommend working with her. I'm gonna look her up for some makeup lessons here in the near future, so hopefully I'm gonna get better at that. Anyway, here's her Instagram and everything. So both for Cindy and for Mimi, if you want to, go follow them, give them some support, and if you are local or really anywhere in Texas, look them up, because trust me, this is an experience that you want to go through, and I'm about to tell you why. Believe it or not, up until a few years ago, I had never actually heard of Boudoir. I didn't know what it is. That's kind of sad for somebody that is now in their 30s. I think I heard about it the first time when I was in my late 20s. So the first time I heard about it, it was actually with a coworker. She's a photographer on the side, and she was telling me kind of about what she does, and she brought up Boudoir. And through the course of conversation, she asked me, would you ever like buy this as a gift for your girlfriend or your wife one day? I said, no, absolutely not. Well, first of all, what was actually going through my head is I don't want my girlfriend or wife being that exposed to somebody else. I think it's a little bit different with a female photographer, but I digress. That's my own issue I gotta work through. At least it was at that point in time. But really my misconception with Boudoir originally was that I thought it was just overtly sexual. Like it was borderline erotica. The only reason I could process why somebody would want to go through this photo shoot is to be sexual to somebody else. I mean, obviously you have these pictures, they can't really be for you, right? You're not getting turned on by yourself, right? Well, I wasn't entirely right. That of course begs the question of, Sammy, why on earth would you do this in the first place if that's what you thought about it? Why has this been a goal for you if that's really how you felt about it? Well, perhaps the most obvious answer is I'm a huge hypocrite. All joking aside, anybody that follows me on Instagram knows that my profile is not overtly sexual. It's just not. I have sexy dresses and sexy poses and all that, but there's the difference between sexy and sexual. I'm really not trying to put myself out there in that capacity. It's not who I am as a person. I think one of the things that I've learned in my time as expressing myself as Sammy is there's a certain empowerment and a confidence that comes with expressing yourself in a sexy way. Not a sexual way, but in a sexy way. As a way to say, I know who I am, I embrace my flaws, and I see that there is something beautiful about myself. I am not the perfect specimen of really anything. I'm not the perfect masculine specimen. I'm definitely not the perfect feminine specimen, mostly because I failed physical. But I've talked about it before. I have flaws. I'm just like everybody else. There are certain things about myself that I can't hide. But over quarantine, I started to put on a little bit of a gut I'm not a huge fan of. I am working on that one though. But also, like, let's be real. I'm a guy. I'm built like a guy. My shoulders are broad. I have decently muscular arms. My legs are pretty rockin', I will say that. But in spite of all of the flaws and all the nitpicks that I can put against myself, I still like what I see when I look in the mirror. And that is a pretty cool thing. It's actually a fairly foreign thing to me. And that's another discussion for another time. The short version is that I've never really considered myself to be that attractive as a man, ever. So doing a boudoir shoot really got down to a couple things for me. Number one, I'm finally at a point where I am happy with what I see and I'm confident enough with who I see and who I am and knowing who I am that I was ready to undertake this and say, I don't necessarily care how they come out. This is more for me. And that's really what it was at the end of the day. This was for me. Number two, I'm not getting any younger. And I'm definitely not getting any prettier. So if I'm gonna do it, time needs to be now. Number three, it's another step of growth for me. It was another thing that I could cross off my list and say, these are the wonderful things that women everywhere get to do. I wanna do that. Why not? Let's go for it. The shoot itself was really not awkward at all. I was fully expecting it to be awkward. And a lot of that credit goes to Cindy and to Mimi for making me incredibly comfortable in the moment. The whole time Mimi was doing my makeup, the three of us were chatting and just bouncing questions off each other, and they were endlessly curious about who I am and why I wanted to do this, and it really just helped ease me into everything. But Cindy, of course, is a professional, and she knew exactly how to kind of ease me into everything. The first outfit I actually wore was a bit of an oversized sweater with cutouts on the side and just some underwear. And at no point during that did I feel like I was truly exposed. And I think in general, when I feel like I'm exposed, I also feel like I'm being judged. So again, major credit to Cindy and to Mimi for not making me feel judged. Honestly, they were some of the greatest hype women of all time. But after the oversized sweater, then we started getting into the sexy stuff. And again, I really don't flaunt this on my Instagram profile. It's just not who I am as a person, but I'm very upfront with it. I have lingerie. I have some really sexy lingerie, mind you, but nobody on the internet up until now has actually seen any of it. So yeah, it's a whole lot of firsts for me and for everybody on Instagram that's following me. And truth be told, I don't feel that any of these photos that were taken of me are really that revealing or overly sexual. Again, they're sexy, I ain't gonna lie, but it's done in such a way that I'm comfortable with it. I'm comfortable being seen that way, even if it's kind of a new experience for me. Really, the only uncomfortable part about any of it was just some of the poses that you have to do. Whoa, if you're gonna do that, make sure you stretch ahead of time. I mentioned earlier the confidence and the empowerment, and all of those things came true, maybe not necessarily in the moment for me because I'm having my photograph taken. I'm not thinking about that feeling. I'm doing what I'm told in the moment. I'm doing what Cindy is telling me is the right pose for this moment because it's gonna come across in this certain way. And oh, this is gonna be really sexy if you do that. And while I'm posing, there's nothing on my mind except please don't fall down and collapse. Please don't throw out your back. Please don't do any of these things. Ugh. And it wasn't until she would take a picture, pull back the camera, have a look at it and say something like, wow, you're gonna love this. Oh boy, was she right. And it was that for picture after picture after picture. Both Cindy and Mimi were so incredible to me. They helped me feel more beautiful than I had ever felt in my entire life. And it had nothing to do with the fact that I'm posing in lingerie. It was just somebody seeing something in me that I had never seen in myself before. I talk about my own insecurities enough. Believe me when I say that in this moment, while the photo shoot was going on, they were gone. Literally didn't think about them once. And really for the next few hours, the only thing that was left over was just happiness. Some truly amazing feelings that I don't have a whole lot of words to describe them. It's happiness mixed with joy, mixed with the confidence and the empowerment that I said before. An unparalleled feeling of self-worth that I had never gone through before. Of course, there's a feeling of sexiness because, let's be real, my brother told me once that I shouldn't spend my money on things, I should spend them on experiences. Hadn't let me down so far, and this was just another perfect example. So yes, you are gonna get to see the pictures. You're not gonna get to see all of them, but you will get to see most of them, and I'm not gonna include them on this video because, well, it's YouTube, and it's probably not gonna take kindly to it. I know these are kind of dumb questions to ask, but I'm gonna do it anyway for the sake of emphasis. Would I do it again, and would I recommend it? And it's a wholehearted yes to both of those things. I would do it again because I had the time of my life, and it's the best experience I've ever had for myself in front of a camera, which I really never thought was actually gonna be a thing. That, again, another story for another time. More than that, this was something for me. This was, in some form or another, self-care. This was me taking care of myself. This is me saying, yes, it's okay to do something for you. Even if I wasn't gonna show these pictures to the internet, I still would have done this. This was 100% for me to, in some way, help commemorate my time and my growth as Sammy, to recognize the beautiful person that I am, and everything in me is kind of crawling and scratching at me saying, you can't say nice things about yourself. But sincerely, I saw a completely different side of me that I had never seen before, and it was all thanks to a brilliant makeup artist and a brilliant photographer. And as somebody who is absolutely riddled with self-doubt and self-conscious issues, a whole lot to go on with this, and just generally not liking how I look, this was a huge moment for me. And it's because of that that I 100% endorse doing something like this for yourself. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, and I know some people are gonna feel really awkward about posing in their underwear in front of a total stranger. I mean, I certainly did, at least for the first little bit. But if you're anything like me and you've dealt with self-image issues and body image issues and generally just feeling self-conscious and not confident, I'm really struggling to find a better way to have somebody bring out one of the best versions of yourself, a side of yourself that you maybe never knew existed, a side that you didn't know you could be so enthralled with, than to do something quite like this. Personally, I think every woman at some point in their life should have a photo shoot like this. Again, just for themselves. It took decades of my life to realize, and it really wasn't until I started expressing myself as Sammy, that women are under tremendous pressure to look a certain way, both by beauty industry, by social media, by men in general. Yeah, we kind of suck at that. And I think that's part of the beauty of what a person like Cindy does, is it strips away all of the pressure to look a certain way, to be a certain way, to act a certain way, and to just let every bit of sexiness and confidence and empowerment and all of that just overflow and let it take over you for once in your life, because it's really hard to come by that sometimes. I need to sit down and interview Cindy on this for a video at some point in time. I think she has a very unique perspective that would really help connect with a lot of women out there. The really hard part about going through an experience in which you really have no words to describe it is when you try to describe it on video, you don't have words for it, do you? Yeah, that's pretty much it. What do you think? Have you ever gone through an experience like this, whether it be a boudoir shoot or something that just makes you feel absolutely incredible about yourself? If you have that or any questions, drop them in the comment box right down there. That is it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends. That Sammy's a sexy bitch. I'm kidding. Don't say that.